Hi, I am Warren Lowen, founder of ATC Games, that is Advanced Contact Games, and this is my game, Kaiju Conquest. Kaiju Conquest is a strategy game of alien invasion and battles between giant mecha and monsters. Ever since I saw the Pacific Rim movie in 2013, I wanted to create my own version of Kaiju invasion from space, and this is it. The game can be played solo or two-player for ages 12 and older, and it can be played between 90 minutes and 3 hours, depending on the experience of the players. The video will cover the game layout and components. Following videos will cover the solo and two-player gameplay. There are two factions in the game: the United Earth Reaction Force, known as the UERF for short, and the invading reptilian Sazzarran Empire, or Sazzarrans. You can read the short backstory below this video and on why and how the Sazzarran invaded Earth. You can also get more information about the game and its universe on my Facebook and blog links below. The objective of the game is to gain the most victory points, VPs, by the end of game year 5. Both players achieve VPs by winning battles and occupying zones. I'll start with explaining the game board. On the center left of the game board is the game year tracker. There are 5 game years in the game. There is a game year token to track each of the years, and below and above each of the years is a resource value. This represents how many resource points the players get for free at the beginning of each game year, in addition to any other resource points they may have saved up from previous game years. It starts at 15 at year 1 and it goes down to 7 by year 5. This represents the depleting resources as the war progresses. On the bottom left and top left of the board are the resource and victory point charts. And the blue are the resource points. Each side can use that as a reference for buying your military units, buying biobombs for the Sazzarran or nukes for the UERF, gaining extra movement for the units, healing kaiju for the Sazzarran or repairing mecha for the UERF, and destroying their opposing forces, getting resource points for those. In yellow are the victory point values. During the game, each side can win a victory point for winning each battle. End of game conditions, however, are a little different. For the Sazzarran, they gain victory points for damaging and destroying zones, along with obviously occupying the zones. The UEF player will also gain victory points for occupying zones, but also the least amount of damaged zones, they get victory points for that. Each side will also gain 1 victory point for each resource point remaining on the resource tracker, which I will show you shortly. At the bottom and top of the game board, as we look at it, are the Sazzarran and UERF resource trackers. There is a resource tracking token to track, obviously, your resource points throughout the game. The trackers go from 0 to 25, with 25 being the most that you can collect in any game year. Anything over that is lost. On the top left and bottom left are the military unit statistics as references for the players. And the green arrows represents your movement. The red fist represents your strength, or how many battle dice you roll in combat for each unit. And the purple bullet wound represents how much damage each unit takes before they are destroyed. On the game board itself, the blue hexes are the C zones. They are mainly used for movement and blockading of opposing forces. There are 7 land zones, and there are 15 beautifully illustrated city zones. These are all the coastal cities along the Pacific Ocean. The city and land zones only will have values to them. These represent roughly the population and infrastructure of those zones. Once they reach 0, those zones are considered destroyed. Each side has 8 kaiju and 8 mecha cards to use, to purchase, actually, during the game. I will show you an example of each class of these here. At the top of the cards will be the name of either the kaiju or the mecha. On the left hand side, top to bottom, is the movement value, the amount of battle dice they roll in combat, and how many damage points they take before they are destroyed. On the right hand side is the build value. That is what you're going to use to purchase them during the game. The build value is not always the same. For example, Warlord Azrael is 9 on this side, but 8 on the other side, and that is dependent on the special ability below on the bottom of the card. On the bottom center is the name of that class. So we got Scout, Warriors, harbingers for the kaiju, and we got scout, warrior, and guardians for the mecha. At the bottom below the classes are the special abilities. If there is no die icon beside the special ability, it means it is passive and always in effect. However, if there is a one or more die icons beside the special ability, it means during the battle phase, when they roll a certain number of dice, that they have to get at least one or more of those hits to be able to activate the special ability, which does more damage and has more power than just the regular dice. Below the special abilities are the flavor text for each of those mecha or kaiju. You will also see that each side has their own 8 standees, one for each of their kaiju and mecha. Each side also has their own 18 military units, or MUs. The Sazzarran have 8 biobomb tokens. The UARF have 8 nuke tokens. Each player has 8 battle dice. On the dice themselves, they have different values. There are 2 blank sides, there are 3 single hit sides, and there are 1 double hit side. The Sazzarran player only has a deck of 20 portal cards. In that deck there will be 15 city cards, 3 land zone cards, and 2 sea zone cards. They will be drawn randomly, usually 4 cards, and they will only choose 2 of those cards as the zones they will deploy their forces into each game year. Once they've done that, all the cards are discarded into the portal discard pile. Each side has its own deck of 30 command cards. In that deck of 30 cards, there are draw phases, movement phase, battle phase, and build phase cards. The top of the card will indicate the type of command, the phase it is used in below that, flavor text of that card, the ability to be used, and any special condition for discarding a card or not. The Sazzarran player has their own reference card for using the biobomb, and the UAF player has their own reference card for using nukes. There is also the order of play reference cards for both sides. They are normally double-sided on one card, but I left both sides out for ease of viewing for the players. On the left-hand side of the game board are the victory point tokens in 1, 5, 10, and 20 point denominations used to track all the victory points throughout the game. And on the right hand side are the 22 destroyed zone tokens for when the city and land zones are destroyed, and the damage tokens in 1, 3, 5, and 10 point denominations used to track the damage points on cities, land zones, and the mecha and kaiju. There are also the rule books for each side that you can use to review at your leisure when you need to check out the rules. On the board itself, you see in the borders, these are only represented on Tabletop Simulator, but not on the actual gameplay on the surface, physical surface. The reserve zones are where their units start out before they are purchased. The deployment zones for the Sazzarran or UAF are where your cards and your units are placed before they go into combat. There are command card ready zones for when your command cards are in use during the game year. There's the discard pile for your portal cards, discard pile for where the command cards go. There are salvage zones for the kaiju and the mecha. When their mecha and kaiju are destroyed, they go there until they are brought back into play again. And that is the layout and components for Kaiju Conquest. If you want to learn more and you like what you see, please subscribe on the button below. Also, you can check out the blog links and my Facebook links there if you want to sign up or join up and see how the game progresses. Thank you for watching. Hope you watch the future videos coming up, and thank you. Take care.